Hello and welcome back to my channel. And today we are going to start the Sankhyan philosophy. It is one of the six Indian philosophical systems. Without any further ado, let's get started. Sankhya is an orthodox school of philosophy which is believed to have been propounded by the sage Kapila, who is also referred to as Kapil Muni. So, Kapil Muni was the one who actually propounded the Sankhya philosophy. Most of our discussions about this system of philosophy is based on Ishwar Krishna's Samkhya Karika. So this is an important literary source for us to actually interpret what does this philosophy actually mean. Ishwar Krishna's Samkhya Karika, which was written around 4th to 5th century CE, Common Era. Sankhya and Yoga are generally treated as allied philosophical systems by scriptures like Bhagavad Gita. But Sankhya is differentiated from Yoga and some of the other orthodox systems for its non-theistic approach. So it is distinct from other systems for its non-theistic approach. Non-theistic, as in it does not believe in the authority of or the entity of God. Also, we could summarize that Sankhya is a theistic school because it believes in the authority of the Vedas. It is a dualistic one because as we read as we read further, we will get to know that the existence of two different worlds. It also believes in realism, orthodox, as we have read, because it believes in the authority of the Vedas. Atheistic because it does not believe in God. Basically, earlier I said wrong, but atheistic is not actually accepting God. Theistic is somebody who accepts the authority of God, but atheistic are the ones who do not accept God. It is a pluralistic and a spiritual school. Even though Sankhya philosophy adopts many metaphysical themes from Upanishads, it is essentially dualistic in nature. Schools of Vedanta, propounded by Shankaracharya and Ramanujacharya, which largely draw their essence from absolutist approach of Upanishads, strongly support monism and criticize the dualistic approach of the Sankhya system. The primary philosophical problems which we have to deal with in Sankhya system are the theory of causation, origin of the world, concepts of Prakriti and Purush, and finally the idea of bondage and liberation. So these are the basic themes upon which the Sankhyan doctrine is based upon. So first we're going to read about is the theory of causation. So why these things appear the way they are? Is there a relation between cause and effect? So moving on. This effect pre-exists in its material cause. This is a matter of debate in the Indian philosophy. So I would like to reiterate our problem statement, which is thus effect pre-exists in its material cause. Those who answer this question in the affirmative sense are known as the Satyakarvadins. They believe that there is no essential difference between cause and effect. So what they try to say is that cause equals to effect. There is no proper distinction between cause and effect. The only difference is regarding the state. That what is implicit at the level of cause becomes explicit at the level of the effect. So what they mean by this statement is that cause and effect are basically just the same thing, different, which appear in a different kind of state. What is basically inherent in a cause just takes shape when it appears as the effect. So these are just two interchanging things. Effect is the manifested form of cause, and cause is the unmanifested effect. So when the manifestation takes place, it changes the cause into effect. And we could say likewise that cause is the unmanifested effect. Sankhya philosophers Shankaracharya and Ramanujacharya are the two major thinkers who subscribe to Satkaryavad. So they subscribe to this thought that there is no essential difference between cause and effect. So cause basically pre-exist, the effect basically pre-exists in the material cause. They subscribe to this theorem. Within Satkaryavad also, there are two schools of thought. Sankhya system and Ramanujacharya believe effect pre-exists in the material cause and it is a real modification of it. So according to Ramanujacharya and some of the Sankhya philosophers, effect basically exists in the material cause itself and it is as and it is a real modification of it. This version of Satkaryavad is known as Parinamvad. Shankaracharya believes that even though effect pre-exists in its cause, it can only be treated as the apparent modification of it. Since the underlying material cause is not changing and only the form is changing, one has to admit that the real change is not taking place in the material cause. This version of Satkaryavad is known as Vivartavad or illusion. So I have summarized it in such a way that Satyakarwadins are the ones for them effect exists before cause. So effect pre-exists in the cause and there's only the difference of state. So within the Satkarvadin there are two major thinkers. One is Ramanujacharya, second is Shankaracharya. So Ramanujacharya basically says that effect is just a real modification of the cause, material cause. Uh, and this is called as Parinamvad. Whereas Shankaracharya says that effect is an apparent modification of the cause and it's just a form of the cause which is changing. And this is called as the Vivateva. So it is basically an illusion. There's no real modification. It is just an apparent modification. The underlying material cause is not changing and only the form is changing. So the underlying cause, like the milk is not totally changing. It's just it is taking shape into curd. It is an apparent modification, just that the form of milk is changing. The elemental composition is not. This version of Satyavad is known as Vivartevad or illusion. Those who say that effect does not pre-exist in its material cause are known as Asatkarvadins. So Asatkarvadins are the ones who are basically in the negative sense of the previously asked question that does effect pre-exist in the material cause. So these are the ones who directly negate it. They say that there is no pre-existence of effect in the material cause. So Nyaya and Visheshika believe that effect and cause are essentially not the same, and there is something new in the effect that was not previously in the cause. So effect is something new. It is not that the elemental composition of effect and cause are same. So effect is something which is totally new, totally different from the cause. And this thought is subscribed by the Asatkarvadins, and we could say Nyaya Visheshikar also will also fall into the category of Asatkarvadins because they believe that the effect and cause are essentially not the same. So Hindyan Buddhist concept of sorry, Shanabhangavad and Charvak's theory of Swabhavavad also endorse Asatkarvad in one way or the other. So these are just different ways of referring to a Satkarva or different ways of saying that the effect is something new or effect and cause are totally different. They are not the same thing. So we could actually summarize this in the following chart. The theory of causation. Within the theory of causation basically deals with the question of does effect pre-exist in the cause? So in order to answer this question, there are two thoughts. Once those who say yes and then those who say no. So those who say yes are called Satkaryavadins, and the ones who say no are called the Asatkaryavadins. Within the Satkaryavadins, there is Parinamvad and there is Vivartvad. Parinamvad is trying to refer for the real modification of the material cause, and Vivartvad is the apparent modification. So within the Parinamvad, there are two other schools, and Vivartvad also has one more category. So we'll discuss about this in the later part of the video. Whereas for the Asatkaryavat, as we have read, Asatkaryavat can be attributed to three major philosophies. First is the Nyaya Vaisheshika, which actually disregards the uh, similarity between effect and cause, and they said that the effect is totally different to the cause. It is something very new. Next is the Shanabhangavad of Buddhism. Shan Bhangavad of Buddhism and the Swabhavad of Charvakas, as we have read earlier in the previous videos related to Charvak. Moving on, the theories of causation propounded by different philosophical systems are necessarily linked with the theory of reality of each of them. So, the theory of reality is basically the metaphysics of each of them. So their philosophical thoughts about the theory of causation is basically linked with what they consider as the theory of reality according to them. Sankhya metaphysics believes that this world is the result of the real modification of its material cause, Prakriti. So the material cause is Prakriti, and this world is basically a real modification of Prakriti itself. So whatever you're seeing right now, whatever this world is, it is actually a modification or a real modification of the material cause Prakriti. Thus, their Jagat Vichar can be termed as Prakriti Parinamvad. So, what they think of this very world, or what they think about the reality of this world, is that it is a real modification of the material cause, which is Prakriti, and therefore it is a Prakriti Parinamvad. Their thought or their Jagat Vichar for this reality is that it is a Prakriti Parinamvad. Similarly, Ramanujacharya believes that this world is a result of the real modification of the ultimate reality, Brahman. Thus, his worldview can be called as the Brahma Parinamvad. So, this world or this empirical world which we are seeing, or this world which we are a part of, is just a real modification of the ultimate reality, which is the Brahma, according to Ramanujacharya, and therefore it could the worldly view therefore, his worldly view or his Jagat Vichar can be called as Brahma Parinamvad. So, this world is a result of Brahma, is a result of the real modification of Brahma. So, we could actually do it via word breakdown. Brahma Parinamvad. So, Parinam basically means result. So, this world is basically a result or a parinam of Brahma, which is the ultimate reality. Similarly, for Shankaracharya, this world is the result of the apparent modification of ultimate reality, Brahman. So, for Ramanujacharya, this world is a real modification of Brahma, and from uh, Shankaracharya's view, this world is an apparent modification of ultimate reality, Brahman. Hence, Shankaracharya's views world in terms of his Brahma Vivartavad. So, Vivarta, as we have seen, was basically translating to illusion. So, what he tries to say is that this world is just an illusion of uh, the ultimate reality, which is Brahman. Similarly, Nyaya Visheshika atomic theory is aligned with Asatkaryavad. Same is the case with Buddhist theory of causation, Jaina theory of causation, Sadasatkaryavad. Sadasatkaryavad states that from one perspective, effect states that from one perspective, effect and cause are one and from the same. So I'll just read it again. Sadasatkaryavad states that from one perspective, effect and cause are one and the same, and from another perspective, they are different. So what they try to say is that from one point of view, effect and cause seem to be similar, but from the other point of view, they seem to be different. So they're just incorporating both the similarity as well as the distinction between the effect and the cause. This will fits in with the Jain theory of substance, which is called the Dravya, which tries to say change and permanence both are real depending upon the frame of reference. So what they try to mean by Satsatkaryavad is that the effect and cause are same from one point of view and they can be different from the other. So they're just trying to incorporate their own theory of substance where they mentioned that change and permanence both are real depending upon the frame of reference. So depending on the frame of reference, there is change and there can be permanence as well. So we could just sum up in this chart the Prakriti Parinamvad of Sankhya, which falls under Parinamvad, is where the world is a real modification of Prakriti. And Brahma Parinamvad of Ramanujacharya, the world is the real modification of Brahman or the ultimate reality. Similarly, in Vivartavad, Brahma Vivartavad of Shankaracharya, world is apparent modification of the Brahman. And Jaina philosophy basically combines both of these, Satkaryavad and Asatkaryavad. So it is a combination of accepting and not accepting at the same time. So it is called the Satkaryavad. So I'll see you guys in the next video where we discuss more about the theory of causation by Sankhya philosophy. Till then, see ya. Bye.